Welcome to another episode of Follow the Brand TV. I am your host, Grant McGaugh, CEO of 5-Star BDM, a 5-star personal brand and business development company. I want to take you on a journey through another deep dive into the world of personal branding and business development using compelling personal stories, business conversations, and tips to improve your brand. By listening to the Follow the Brand TV series, you will differentiate yourself from the competition and build trust with prospective clients and employers. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Make it one that will set you apart, build confidence, and reflect who you are. Building your 5-star personal brand is a great way to improve your skills and knowledge. If you have any questions for me or any of my guests, please email me at grant.mcgaugh@5starbdm.com. Now, let's begin with our next episode on the Follow the Brand TV.
Five-Star BDM, Brand Development Masters, is a professional consulting and advisory group keenly focused on business development services for the small to mid-sized business and entrepreneurs. Although every business is unique, they often share business development challenges that can be addressed through smart branding. Services include process improvement and operations, digital strategy and transformation, business intelligence, digital marketing, and personal branding. Our business and personal branding company has helped a number of professionals and organizations to optimize and grow. This results in more business, more opportunities, better reach, positive outcomes. Visit www.5starbdm.com today to learn more.
Over the years, really developed a strong passion for healthcare, finance, and really finding ways for organizations to thrive financially and putting their mission first, but acknowledging that without margin, there is no mission. The value I gain from the multidiscipline professionals that are going to be included, the value that I gain from the cohort I'd be a part of, and all the learning, the diversity of thought that's going to be at the table, and the opportunity to stretch yourself in the pursuit of better knowledge that's going to propel your career.
Welcome, everyone, to the Follow Brand Podcast. I'm your host, Grant McGaugh. We're going to go all the way over to St. Pete, the other side of Florida. You know, I'm over in Miami, Florida, so we got the Atlantic, and then you got the beautiful Tampa Bay over in St. Pete. And guess who's there in St. Pete with us right now? We got Latasha Barnes. She, you know, we just talked about this. I had met her about 5 years ago during an NAHSE, or we used to call it NASI, right, at the time, when I was on my whirlwind tour trying to make this a statewide chapter. And Orlando Health had so many leaders in healthcare. And one of those leaders was Latasha Martin. And she just really, man, we connected right away. I always liked talking to her. She was on one of my earliest shows. I mean, the first year I was doing podcasting, she was on because, hey, we need to do something around financial empowerment and understanding what that's all about. And she agreed to be on my show. Here we are 3 years later, and we're going to be joined with a Lead with Impact Vision to Victory workshop in Miami, January 25th, 26th. It's going to be wonderful. And she's going to impart her wisdom, her experience, her knowledge to all the different participants. So we want to talk about just a little bit about that and really show people what they're going to gain. So would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. First, let me just say thank you so much, Grant, for having me back on your podcast. I had a fabulous time the first time. So I'm really looking forward to the conversation today. I am, as you said, Latasha Barnes. I am the owner and principal consultant of L. Barnes Consulting here in St. Petersburg, Florida, formerly of Orlando Health, where I served as the chief financial officer, where we met, like you said. And again, I'm just so excited to be working with you again. I'm so excited for the workshop coming up in January. And thank you again for having me.
Excellent, excellent. So we're going to have a great conversation. And everybody wants us to jump right in. And if they're not feeling it, I know I'm feeling it. It's the passion you have around finances and healthcare. The lifeblood of any business is the finance that kind of runs through there. Share with us some of your passion for the numbers and how you really dissect these different things and can show your expertise in this area.
So when I started my journey just in my professional career, I learned pretty quickly. I was working in Big Four at the time, Big Four audit company. And I learned pretty quickly I wanted to work for a company or work with a company that did something, not made something. And so that's how I got started in hospitals and healthcare in general. And obviously, my degree is in accounting. I'm a certified public accountant. And I've just, over the years, really developed a strong passion for healthcare finance and really finding ways for organizations to thrive financially and putting their mission first, but acknowledging that without margin, there is no mission. So that's really been my impetus over the last couple of decades now, where I've just found my niche, I think, of helping organizations dive into the problems that exist financially, but think about it from a holistic approach of how they actually operate and how those operations can impact the financials. And so that's really where I focused the last probably 10 years in my career, is helping hospitals that are in turnaround situations. And it's been a lot of fun, and it's energizing for me. It's not the normal typical debits and credits. It's really, I like finding a problem. I loved audit, so I love solving a problem for a company.
Well, there's a lot of, especially when it comes to finance in healthcare, operated on small margins compared
Yes.
to, certain corporations that operate on double digit margins. And in healthcare,
Hmm.
usually it's single digits. So every dollar counts. Now, what our
Absolutely.
workshops is around is helping our cohort of executives, healthcare executives, to get to that next level. And I have
Hmm.
found in my research and a lot of different discussions that the finance and financial acumen is often missing. They just don't get, either it's from exposure, they just haven't had the experience with how the financial lens when they're doing things in operations, operational
Hmm.
efficiency, or the other departments that make up a lot of these things. Share with us some of the wisdom that you have found, that if you want to impart to some of these different operators, that you find that would be beneficial.
Over my career, I've seen And really just in general, as a financial leader, it's been kind of a one-dimensional approach. It's all about the numbers. And so it tends to kind of silo you as a leadership team. If you think about it, you've got your operator, you have your visionary, the CEO, you have your financial person. If you're in healthcare, you've got someone on the clinical side from a nursing perspective. You may have someone on the clinical side from a quality perspective. And everybody's got their priorities. And what I have learned, and I think what's really made me successful and ultimately the companies that I've worked for successful, is when you look at the problem through a multi-pronged approach. I can't solve alone a P&L problem as a CFO if I don't look to the actual operations of the organization and understand, well, what are we doing that may be leading to that problem? If I'm seeing low volumes in a hospital, no one, it's kind of funny to think of when you think of a hospital and as a business and you don't have the volumes because people aren't sick or whatever the case may be. It's not that I'm wishing that someone is sick, but that's our service, is taking care of sick people. So when they aren't coming through the door, the question is not a financial question. It's, do we have bad quality? Do we not get patients in and out of the ED fast enough? If we don't, how can we fix that? Do we not treat them well? Are we not nice? And so therefore they don't want to come see us. They don't want to come to us for care. They want to go down the street to the hospital that takes better care of them just as a person. So it's more than I'm spending too much money or I'm not making enough revenue. It's what is the actual problem that's leading to the output that we see of lower revenue or lower net income, and how do we then approach that holistically? That to me, and I think it's where thinking that way and using that as my leverage with an operator earns me so much capital from a relationship standpoint, because if I can approach the scenario through their lens, they understand I'm not just trying to cut services or make money. It's how do we attack the problem that you're confronting as a clinician, that you're having as a physician or my quality, leader? How do we address that ultimately at the end of the day, that's going to create money down the line or revenue down the line? And really, it's not just for the sake of making money. If you're a nonprofit, you're looking at it from the standpoint of, now I have more resources that I can push out into the community, or I can provide extra services for our community that we don't provide today. So it's really that holistic approach. And, to get back to your question, any new emerging leader, think of your area just as a spoke in the wheel. It's just the one of the things that keeps the wheel moving. You can't approach a problem just by approaching it from your lens only, and really seek to create those relationships with your fellow operators, because ultimately that's how you're going to be successful. When you have to, what I call, throw the hammer down, and it has to be about the thing that's important to you, that capital you've earned by being collaborative with your partners helps you to achieve the goal that you ultimately need to achieve in the first place. And when you've got to be a little stronger in your approach, they understand where you're coming from. They know it's not you being selfish. Mm-hmm. That's been my success, I think.
Are you feeling stuck? Yearning for growth but unsure how to take the next step? You're not alone. 63% of professionals feel unprepared for executive roles. The skills you need aren't out of reach. They're within your grasp. Imagine transforming from being overwhelmed at your desk to confidently presenting to a captivated audience. Leadership isn't just about titles. It's about taking control, bridging gaps, and narrating your own story. Andrea Clark emphasizes this at the workshop. Grant McGaugh adds, "Your brand is your legacy." This is your chance to shape it, refine it, and own it. Latasha Barnes shares, "Mastering financial acumen isn't just a skill, it's the language of leadership, and I'll show you how to speak it fluently." Engage in real-world boardroom simulations. financial strategy sessions, and interactive team challenges. Step into a world of immersive learning. Engage with industry leaders and gain hands-on experience through high-level boardroom simulations. Refine your executive presence in settings designed to elevate your confidence and your career. Enjoy an exclusive wine tasting and food pairing event, all while collaborating with fellow attendees. Limited to 40 participants, early bird registration opens December 1st, 2024. This isn't just a workshop. This is your breakthrough, your transformation. Picture yourself delivering a confident presentation, the room erupting in applause. Feel the satisfaction as you shake hands with a mentor. January 25th and 26th at Miami-Dade College. 2 days that will redefine your future. Are you ready to lead with impact? Register now at 5starbdm.com. Leadership isn't given, it's earned. Take the first step. Lead with impact.
I think that you've teed up this next question very, very well when it comes to the CFO perspective. And I've heard from a lot of, and this is all research that I've done over the last 3 years and talking to a lot of healthcare executives, that they want the exposure. They want to understand the conversation in the C-suite. And it always comes back to you have to understand the language of business. And the language of business is finance. And if you don't understand finance at that level, it's hard to understand where you fit in. So you might put together a proposal, let's say, and you've got a business plan. Everybody, you get the budget, right? You got to write something up. You got to get your budget approved. And everyone sees, man, my budget always gets cut. They want me to do more with less. But not understanding that when you're at the table of the C-suite and from the CFO lens, what are you seeing that from as a challenge for these operational people or other departments that usually just say, you know what, that's the problem. That's why you're not getting what you're seeking.
Yeah, I actually just had this come up with a client I'm working with now of where it's about tying what the operator is doing to the finances, helping them understand how their actions impact a financial result. Because you're right, they don't understand it from just a pure financial lens. So as a CFO, it's my job to break it down in such a way that they understand the basics, putting the right metrics or the right performance indicators that relate directly to what they do in front of them. And that helps them, that gets the wheels turning, I think. If I'm working with a leader in an imaging space and their business is images for patients, right? So diagnostics, what have you. And if they're not as productive as I would like them to be, multiple scans per hour or for the day, yet they've got all the people working, all these resources engaged to provide this service, and they're wondering, why are they losing money? Like, why are they not making money doing this thing? Well, when you break it down to, well, you could be getting 20 scans per hour, but you're only doing 10, and you've got the staff to do 20. So let's think about what that means. You're spending Y to make X when you really should be spending Y to make Y. And it's just kind of breaking it down to as bare bones as you possibly can, but really putting it in the financial terms that they understand. Are we talking about turnaround time?
Yeah.
What does turnaround time mean to you? And how quickly do you get patients in and out? Therefore, you could get more patients in the door. Therefore, you generate more revenue that supports the resources you're using. So it's really breaking it down to what they're doing operationally and then tying it to a financial element that they can understand. They may not understand what the whole P&L says. If I'm talking to my chief operating officer, then it's a higher level conversation, but it still is kind of getting bare bones to how, not having these 10 beds on this unit open because we can't get them open fast enough, they're under construction, whatever the case may be, how not having them open impacts our financials because we said in our budget we were going to have these beds open by X. So it's breaking it down to something that they truly can relate to their day-to-day business. I think is a very useful tool in getting non-financial leaders to understand finances.
Let's unpack that a little bit, because I know that is a sticking point for a lot of people. They might have went to business school, they might have MBAs, they might have went through that course, but then as they got into industry, they're doing what they do, whether it's in imaging, it's radiology, it's the whole operational aspects, it's the marketing aspects, but you're doing the work, not understanding, or maybe just not, you might have a cursory understanding of the financial conversation that takes place. But being able to communicate, that's what I find is the communication.
Yeah.
How do you speak, finance to the business, to the ultimately to the C-suite that you're working with, and having that conversation. Now, what advice would you give to, let's just say, someone who's a director, or maybe they're a newly promoted VP, to up their game when it comes to financial acumen at the level of a board that they need to hear from them?
I have over the years worked, especially with our leaders who are getting their advanced degrees. Part of their education is some type of financial project. And they always come to me and they want to sit down with me and help them understand finances. And what I learned through that is not dumbing it down. And that's probably such a terrible phrase, but not dumbing it down is also necessary so that they do learn the financial acumen. And so I would suggest truly sitting down with your senior leader, whoever that your senior financial leader is, and having them literally walk you through a financial statement, walk you through the key performance indicators that you as an executive leader use, and teach you what they mean. Now, you won't learn it all in one fell swoop, but it could be an exercise of maybe as the leader, you receive the information and you, as an exercise, try to take those concepts and the learnings that you gained from that session with your finance leader and try to do it yourself, basically, like practice, basically. Maybe have them present. Like I love having leaders, you present to me your financial information. Let me help critique that. Let me help you enhance that knowledge a little more. And as they continue to practice, as they continue to dive into that information on a day-to-day or month-to-month basis, that acumen will grow. Like, you're not going to learn it in one go. And then as the leader, obviously, maybe parsing out the pieces that really are the most relevant are a good first step. And then you can grow that knowledge to more of that global, high level, board level, senior corporate leader level of expertise or knowledge that, that would be presented to them. I think that could be a good first step. Just talk to your finance leader and have them just walk you through it, give you the access, you seek out the information, try to decipher it yourself, maybe present to your senior leader, and have them critique you, have them help you just continue to get better and better.
I think that's
Hope
so
that answered your
important. One of the
question.
reasons why we're going to have this workshop is that we're going to have a simulation, board simulations of
Mm,
what that conversation truly is like. And
mm-hmm.
that you have to work with your team. We're going to have different teams. We have a cohort of about 40 individuals. We'll break that down into about teams of 5 or 6 people. Everyone will have a role, and not in their traditional role. Maybe you were in marketing,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe you're going to be the technology leader. You're going to be the finance leader.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be the COO or the CEO at the table. Have those conversations. Now, your piece, you're going to be coaching us that first day, coaching everyone that's there to start to begin to understand these kinds of conversations to
Mm-hmm.
up their game. Because if people are looking for career advancement and
Mm-hmm.
having this in their toolkit, to have this kind of skill set that I didn't expect you to know this type of thing, right? Because you're an
Yeah.
operations person. Wow, you
Yeah.
understand this some of these nuances in the financial world and why you can get some of these things done. And it makes
Yeah.
good sense. It's good business, right? But you're
Yep.
speaking the language of business. Talk to us a little bit more about some success stories that you've had where certain leaders that they came to you and they weren't really up to snuff with their financial acumen, but then over time they were able to then to deliver different presentations and that type of thing at a high level.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I actually, I'm at my last full-time role. I had a young lady in her practicum for her master's in business. And so this is back, harkens back to what I said earlier, where how they come to me and they want me to teach them things, right? So she was given kind of a stretch assignment where it dealt with putting together a contract for a services that the hospital will be providing, sort of like health screenings, things like that. So, not where they come to the hospital, but what she had to do was put together the fee schedule. She had to understand um, how to price out the service, what basis to use, etc. And she, as a clinician, literally she would tell me, I have no clue, like I don't know what to do. And she's so nervous because she doesn't want to mess it up, right? So I took some time to just explain to her how you might even come up with the fee schedule. Let's think about how much time is involved with what you're going to be doing. Like, think about the people who are going to be providing the service. How much do they make an hour? How much time will they be spending with each patient for these screenings? And then of course, there's a markup element to that from a revenue at bottom line perspective. So teaching her about markup and how much is probably too much, what's reasonable, what makes sense, what do we need to make off of providing the service so that it makes it worth it for us to do, other than the aspect of it being a community service. Let me just caveat that we're talking about healthcare here. But so I took the time to work with her on that, and she was able to get all the necessary elements from the potential client, how much volume we thought we would see. Then she could put together, well, how much time will that entail? What complement of people will we need to provide the service? Do all the calculations and come up with fees for the different types of service that we would provide, including the markup. And tell me, so what is this business going to net us at the end of the day? Is it going to be, how much will we make off providing this particular service for this client? And so from beginning to end, she put it all together. And when I say she was, I had notes, obviously, nothing will ever be perfect. But at the end of the day, she was so overjoyed that she did it because she was, again, in her words, clueless. She understands, but does not understand. And so, I think she just felt so proud of herself for being able to, she didn't have to negotiate the contract necessarily, but she needed to come up with the fee schedule, and she did. And it was something that I don't think in a million years she thought she'd ever be able to do. And the next year, because it became an annual service that the client provided, then she did it the year after that and understood how to think about inflation. Like, have costs risen for us, then we have to think about how we may have to increase the markup that we calculate to keep us at least whole, right? So It was a really great experience for her, and I just love helping, so it felt great for me too. I love it when like the light bulb goes off,
Yeah.
especially someone who is non-financial at all. Like when that light bulb goes off, it's awesome.
Well over 2 decades now. I've been in multiple spaces. I've had the luxury and privilege to pivot in multiple spaces in my life. As a professional, I started off in a very much entry-level role, working as a hospital transporter. But I've always believed in, just executing your best, and you never know who's watching you. You know what? How many other professionals are, stellar in their roles, but they are looking for other opportunities. But they're just, the gap is the skill, maybe the jargon, or not only the skills, but how to apply it, And I know that was a gap for me. You can be in really large institutions, but you can still feel unfulfilled in a lot of ways.
It is, because some people are very good in their technical skill set of what they do, but outside of that realm, but this is the type of thing that actually helps you to attain the goal that you're looking to attain.
Right.
But you're just not that savvy, or you're just not been exposed to it. What is that financial conversation? I'm gonna throw
Exactly.
this at you, because now we're doing a workshop. There's an
Mm-hmm.
investment in
Mm.
yourself that has to take place.
Yeah.
And I've heard this term in healthcare, and I love it too, because a lot of people talk about ROI, but they talk about return on invested capital,
Mm. Yep.
ROIC, return on invested capital. So
Mm-hmm.
talk to our audience that are interested in being a part of our cohort that's going to take place at Miami-Dade College Medical Campus, January 25th, 26th. If they have an investment of capital of anywhere from $500 to $800, what do you think that's going to look like from your end?
From my end, um, I think if I was a participant in this, I would be looking at it from the lens of the value I gain from the multidiscipline professionals that are going to be included, the value that I gain from the cohort I'd be a part of, and all the learnings, the diversity of thought that's going to be at the table, and the opportunity to stretch yourself in the pursuit of better knowledge that's going to propel your career. You're going to have an opportunity to hear from experts in their field, help you enhance the skills you already have. Like you're not a slouch here. Like these are participants, they know what they're doing. The goal here is to just enhance those learnings, help give you leverage and edge over your competitor, your peer, your colleague perhaps, that may be vying for a similar job. It's an opportunity to really learn other skills over what you do in your day-to-day life. It's a gosh, handheld is the wrong word. It's a very curated session that will help you as a professional hone those skills that you most desire. And I think it will also help you understand that success in your career is not just built upon what you actually do, but how well you navigate outside naturally naturally gifted with doing what you've gone to school for, how you've been trained. It goes back to our conversation of non-financial leaders learning finance. It helps you round out as an executive when you can understand other facets of your business outside of what you do as a professional. So to me, it's not an insignificant amount of money, but the value that's going to be gained is going to be far, far better, far more than the investment that you've made as an individual. And if you had to stick a percentage to it, I'm telling you, it's going to be triple digits.
Right. That's what I want to hear from a
Yeah.
CFO around this. And I want our leaders that actually run systems and start to look down at their bench and their pipeline of leadership, like, hey, we need to sponsor people to go to this because we're going to be stronger for doing it all the way around, because it's getting harder and harder to hit the marks that we have. And if we have more
Yeah.
and more people that are financially savvy and that they're savvy from a leadership perspective and they understand how to get things done, they're going to be more efficient.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're ultimately trying to get to
Yeah.
along the way. Now, let's talk about this. And I want, because our leaders really need to understand this, and I know you understand this. What are the pressing problems in healthcare? Because you're at these tables, and they're just, look, I have X, that's all I've got, and I got to do Y. And usually
Yeah.
Y is bigger than X
Yeah.
at some of these tables. What are the major challenges that, if you knew these challenges, it's going to help you in your ascension in your career in healthcare?
In healthcare, I'll say healthcare's been plagued by at least two challenges forever, it seems. Obviously, the reimbursement landscape is as complex as it's ever been. I don't think it's going to get any simpler. I think it's going to continue to be complex. So, as a healthcare leader, all the leaders, not just a financial leader, but as a healthcare leader, you've got to figure out, how do you innovate your care delivery? It may cost more initially to invest, speaking of ROIC, initially to invest in those innovations, especially from a technology standpoint. There's fear that means that people will lose jobs, which I'll tell you, the second issue is just a shortage of qualified clinicians, qualified between physicians, nursing, techs, it runs the gamut. COVID was not the start of our shortages, our staffing shortages in healthcare. It just exacerbated it. So figuring out ways to make care delivery more innovative, simpler, take less time, can help also lessen the challenges we have on the staffing side. It doesn't mean that people lose jobs. It just means all the people you thought you needed to hire, maybe you don't need to hire them now, and you can get by with what you have and still deliver great care. So I think that the reimbursement side of the house, you talk about the governmental impact that occurs there. I mean, most of reimbursement, not most, all of reimbursement in the healthcare setting, it's all centered around CMS and how that reimbursement model works. And then you've got your managed care companies that kind of feed off of that. And so you have to get really savvy with how you negotiate those contracts with everyone. So you can only do so much on the reimbursement side. All you can really do is think through, how do you innovate the care delivery experience? And then what services are you providing? How best can you address the needs in your community through services? And are you doing that? Because maybe that's your revenue driver, providing a service that you haven't been providing that's much needed in the community. But at the end of the day, figuring out how to deliver that care efficiently as possible, but also effectively, shortening those ED wait times, things like that. Like how do you deliver care in an innovative way that gets you to the bottom line you need and still provides the best service that you can for the community?
Follow the Brand TV broadcast host, Grant McGaugh, as he visits with top executives and entrepreneurs to find out their secrets of success with their personal brand. Follow the Brand TV broadcast host as he focuses on brand development to build better relationships, bring value to your business, relationships, and career. You will enjoy listening to each episode that is tailored to speak to you directly. If you're looking for this type of clarity in terms of building your brand, you have tuned into the right station. Each episode will help you to shape a conversation in the 5-star BDM network of 20,000 professionals and become a springboard for your corporate engagement and business opportunities. Each guest will frame their story in the areas of personal branding, business development, career development, financial empowerment, and technology innovation. Grant McGaugh explains why he is the CEO and owner of his own professional career. Grant is an accomplished business leader and entrepreneur who wants to give back to individuals to grow their personal brand strategy. Tune in as he weaves his story about new possibilities, while to you exceed expectations. If you love storytelling, this show will make for fun.
Very important. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
Now, talk to me as if I'm a director in a hospital system,
Okay.
a certain department, and now I have been promoted to a vice president level. And for the first time, I'm looking at, normally, you get a promotion, you get a bump in salary, and there you go. At certain levels, you start to look at actual contracts with bonus plans and compensation language that to hit certain metrics that you get certain amounts of money, many different things. And then, like, let's just say you don't hit those metrics, or you leave the company and there's other clauses in there, whether you gain or lose. They've never been exposed to this kind of employment contract. Talk to someone that's never even seen something like, so they don't make a mistake like, oh, that looked great, and don't even realize they've made a mistake and they could have got more.
Right. I've been there, done that. I would suggest first and foremost for anyone that is seeking growth in their career, whether it's to be a leader of a department or a vice president or a chief financial officer, seek out a mentor. Find someone and they don't necessarily have to be in your actual profession. You just want someone that's been there, that's experienced what you either are experiencing or are striving to experience, quite honestly. So you want to move in that space. Find a mentor that can just help guide you, someone that you can bounce those questions off before you have to actually deal with it. And any good mentor is going to be proactive enough to understand, depending upon where you are in your career and what your aspirations are, what questions to even ask of you to help you start to think about those specific scenarios or situations you could find yourself in. And that's how the conversation can be started. That's how you're not blindsided, and you can hopefully avoid some of those pitfalls that many of us have made along the way. It's not foolproof, because we're people and we're going to decide to do what we want to do when we want to do it. And we'll, as my aunt says, take what you want from a person and leave what you don't when they're giving you advice. But I think that can be a very strong and powerful tool in your tool belt as a new or aspiring leader, is to have a mentor, have someone that can help guide you. That's honestly how I have been successful in my career. I have always found or had people take an interest. So be on the lookout for people who are showing an interest in you. Don't be shy, and cultivate that relationship with the person. They may not have approached you about being their mentee, you being their mentee, but if you are interested in this individual and you can tell they're taking an interest in your career, that's the person to hitch your wagon to. If you think they're a good person and can help you and you can learn something from them, hitch your wagon to someone that's willing to help take you along the way. But if you are already in the scenario, you don't have a mentor, all is not lost. But seek, again, this is still your opportunity to pause, because if you've been presented an offer or you find yourself in a situation where it's possible you're going to get this big promotion and you don't quite know what to ask for or what not to say, receive the information and just take a pause. Because if it's yours, it's yours. There's nothing you can, no time, relatively speaking, that you could take to think about something that would change the situation. Just take a beat and then find someone that can maybe help you weed through, the information. And it doesn't hurt to ask for what you want, because they can only say no. And if you didn't have it to begin with, so then you haven't lost anything if they do say no. So why not ask? That's been, a learning for me in my career, probably over the last 10 years, is just, especially as a female leaders, especially, we tend to not negotiate. And so I've finally found that voice probably about 10 years ago when I had my first executive finance position or offer. And I figured it wouldn't hurt me to ask for something else. They can only say no. The offer was fine, but why not ask? Maybe they'll say yes, right? So it never hurts. But find that person to help you navigate the process, and find them early so that when you're faced with the situation, already know you've got somebody you can go to.
That's great advice. And I know you have your business now. You're doing some consulting.
Yes.
I want you, this is the last question I'm going to ask you, but the audience needs to know, because now, you're not just behold, to one organization.
Yeah.
You can help a lot of different people with all your different wisdom and experience and expertise. Talk to us a little bit more about your business.
Sure. Thank you. I started my company, L. Barnes Consulting, back in 2017. And I left a large healthcare corporation at that point and thought, I can impart this wisdom, this information. I can help. The goal was to help small businesses navigate the complexities of finances, because as you can imagine, as many of your viewers or listeners know, lots of companies, they try to do it all. Small businesses try to do it all, and they don't really navigate the pitfalls that can happen from a financial perspective. And so that was my goal initially. And so this second iteration, I'll call it, my focus has really been more of using the expertise I've gained over the last about 10 years now to help those companies that are in a turnaround situation, small, medium, large, provide interim chief financial officer leadership. I've actually got a client right now, a large client I'm working with right now, that are in between CFOs, and I'm just helping to keep the wheels moving. But in true Latasha fashion, I've got to find a problem to fix, and I found several. So So that's really what L. Barnes Consulting is focused on, is helping those companies that are either in a turnaround situation, have a problem to fix, and helping navigate the complexities that can often bring. So whether it's implementing processes, policies, it's really, diving deep into whatever the problem may be and coming up with some viable solutions and helping them to make some strong financial decisions. But I also work with nonprofits still. I've got a couple now in two varying industries, one a museum, one a organization that's like a shared services organization, where I'm their fractional chief financial officer as well. Yeah, so
This
it's been
is so
a lot of
important. So I see the CFO, the interim CFO that you're doing. And I'm curious because now will you do one-on-one coaching with someone? It's like, you know what, I want to move into potentially either a CFO role or assistant role or whatever it may be along that track. Will you do that kind of coaching as well?
I will actually. Funny enough, I've been thinking about getting my certification as a coach. So yeah, I am always willing to talk with aspiring individuals, those executives that are already in place or leaders in place looking to maybe take the next step to a chief financial role or in a finance executive role. Yeah, definitely happy to do that.
Well, I'm happy you're coming to Miami in January and imparting your wisdom and knowledge to our cohort. This is invaluable, and I'm truly hoping that people weigh this out. You've got to invest in yourself as we think about this holiday season that we're going into right this minute, and we're going to spend money on certain things. But if you got to ask yourself, what are you gifting yourself that is going to pay dividends, many times over?
Yeah.
In many different ways, and you just talked to that. So thank you for being first on the Follow Brand Show, and second to be with us on the Lead with Impact with Dr. Andrea Clark. This is going to be wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Do you have any last parting words before we conclude?
I just want to thank you again for having me on, and you are spot on. The Lead with Impact workshop is going to be fabulous, and it is absolutely an investment in yourself. There is no better way to grow your career than investing in yourself. We can't wait for others to do it. We've got to find those avenues that enrich us, and enrich our knowledge, enrich us as a person, and as a professional. And I think the workshop's going to be great for that. So I'm looking forward to participate. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone there. I think it's going to be an awesome time of learning and growth and connecting. And it's going to be really awesome to see.
Well, I can't wait to see you. Gotta let the audience know how to contact you for all that great coaching and your interim CFO work, your fractional CFO work, all that type of a service that you offer.
Absolutely. You can find me on LinkedIn, Latasha Barnes, and you can also find me online at lbarnesconsulting.com.
This is wonderful, and I want to encourage your entire audience to tune in to all the different episodes of Follow Brand at 5-Star BDM. That is the number 5, that's star B, and as in brand, D in development, and infomasters.com. I want to thank you so much again for being on the show.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's talk about leadership.
Okay.
Everyone wants to get to that next level in their careers.
Right.
And, we're always looking for that secret sauce, right? That thing that's going to get you to that corner office.
Yeah.
So I found this video. It's for this workshop called Lead with Impact. And it's all about leadership development.
Okay.
And I thought it was interesting because they start out by really hitting on this pain point that a lot of people feel.
Yeah.
And it's that they feel stuck in their careers.
Like they've plateaued.
Yeah. And they don't know how to get to that next level.
Exactly. Yeah. And they even give a stat in there.
Yeah, what was it?
63% of professionals feel unprepared.
Wow.
For executive roles.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people feeling that way.
That's a huge number.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I mean, obviously there are those usual suspects, like lack of proper training or mentorship.
Sure.
But I think it's deeper than that.
I think so too.
It's almost this expectation that you just magically transform from manager to leader without any clear guidance.
Yeah, and that
like, where's the instruction manual for this?
Exactly. And that's what I think is interesting about this workshop is it seems like they're trying to provide that.
Yeah, they're trying to bridge that gap.
They're trying to bridge that gap,
For sure.
So they bring in these 3 experts.
Yeah.
Andrea Clark,
Yeah.
Grant McGaugh, and Latasha Barnes.
Big names.
They're all big names in the leadership space, each with their own, you know, kind of specialty.
Right. Each focusing on a different angle of leadership development.
Yeah. And the one I have to say that really jumped out at me was Latasha Barnes. She was talking about financial acumen being like the language of leadership.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
She's so right, though.
Yeah. It's like, explain that.
Okay, so imagine trying to lead an orchestra.
Okay.
But you don't understand musical notation.
Okay.
You wouldn't even know where to begin.
You'd be lost.
Completely.
Yeah.
It's the same with leadership and finance.
Okay.
Every decision you make as a leader, whether it's hiring new staff, developing a new product, launching a marketing campaign, it all comes back to finances.
Yeah.
If you don't understand budgets, if you can't forecast growth, or analyze the return on investment of a project, you're basically flying blind.
Yeah.
You're leading with your eyes closed.
You set up to fail.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Latasha's point is that to be an effective leader, you need to be
fluent in finance.
You need to understand the language of money.
Yes. Absolutely.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Okay. So another thing they talk about in the video is immersive learning.
Oh, yeah. They show all these
like
people working together, people collaborating, and they're doing these like
intense boardroom simulations.
Intense boardroom simulations. Yeah.
It looks intense.
It does look pretty intense.
But also kind of fun.
Yeah. Like a good challenge. So what do you think about those simulations?
I think they could be really valuable.
Really?
Yeah. Especially for leadership development.
Okay.
It's like a pilot using a flight simulator.
Okay.
You get to practice those critical skills. In a safe environment.
So you can make mistakes.
Exactly. You can make mistakes. You can try different approaches and learn from your experiences.
Without,
crashing and burning in the real world.
Without the real world consequences.
Exactly. You can practice things like high stakes decision making.
Yeah.
Conflict resolution. Even crisis management.
So you build up that
muscle memory.
Yeah. Like
for those crucial leadership moments.
For those like, you're under pressure moments.
Exactly.
Yeah. You've already been there in the simulation.
Yeah, done it before.
So you know how to handle it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So another term they use a lot in the video is
executive presence.
Executive presence.
Yeah.
I always thought that was just about,
like looking the part.
Looking the part, dressing sharp.
Having a firm handshake.
Having a firm handshake, yeah.
But it's so much more than that.
What is it then?
It's about how you communicate.
Okay.
How you carry yourself. How you think on your feet. It's about projecting confidence, but also authenticity.
Right.
Think about leaders you admire.
Okay.
They command attention, not just because of their title, but because of their presence.
Yeah.
It's a combination of things.
Like what?
Communication skills, emotional intelligence, strategic thinking.
And rolled into one.
Yeah.
And this workshop, they're saying, is going to help you
cultivate that presence.
Okay.
Refine it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have to ask about this.
What's up?
The video shows this like really fancy wine tasting and food pairing event.
Looks delicious.
It does look delicious. So is that just a perk?
I think it's more than that.
What do you mean?
Remember what we were saying about financial acumen not being the only thing you need for leadership?
Yeah.
Well, this is where networking comes in.
Okay.
Building relationships is crucial for any leader. And this event seems like a perfect opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
In a more relaxed setting.
You're not in the boardroom?
Exactly.
See?
So you can
let your guard down a little.
Yeah, and just
connect with people on a more personal level.
So you're building your network. You're learning from your peers.
Yeah.
And you're creating a sense of community.
Exactly. It's all part of the leadership journey.
Okay, so they really emphasize in the video that there are only a limited number of spots, right? They make a big deal about it.
For this workshop. So do you think that's just a marketing tactic?
Probably a little bit.
Yeah.
Scarcity creates urgency. Right. That's like marketing 101.
Sure.
But I also think there's some truth to the idea that a smaller group can lead to a more intimate learning environment.
Yeah.
You have more opportunities for one-on-one interactions with the experts.
Right.
More personalized feedback.
Okay.
And you probably form stronger bonds.
With the other participants.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the Lead with Impact workshop.
Happening January 18th and 19th.
At Miami-Dade College.
Don't miss it.
It's promising to give you those skills.
Your tenets.
The confidence.
It's everything you need.
To really step into those leadership roles.
It's time to level up.
So the question is.
Yeah.
Are you ready to lead with impact?
That's the question.
That's the question.
Think about it.
Tune in for our next show or click on our website at www.5starbdm/followthebrandtv. Thank you.